friends. I'm super excited because I have my buddy, Mr. Joe Rangel here. Excuse me, my voice is a little hoarse today for whatever reason. It just does that some days. But Joe, I want to just tell you guys who he is and get you excited for what he's going to share because he's like the genius of making your brain calm. My little son just popped over here. He wants to say hi real quick. Say hi to Mr. Joe.
Hey, man.
My son wanted to hang out and play video games right there, so he's in the house. So, but yeah, Joe is super authentic, super caring. I actually met him when I was involved in my other network marketing company. I don't even know. Did I meet you at like a company event or something?
I can't remember. I think I probably followed you around a little bit.
Yeah. And we just like became friends. And he actually came out and did an event for my team. And what was so funny is like I was like, yeah, you can come out and do an event. And then I was so busy I would like forget to like get back to him. And he's like the king of follow-up. Like he was so good at like, hey, just thinking, I'm just setting up my schedule. Like he'd be really good at network marketing because he was really good at follow-up. And so eventually he ended up coming out and just an amazing guy who has a heart of gold. And I think what's super awesome about you, Joe, is that you have 8 children. 8 children. And he has like lots of little children, like 18 months and like 2. He'll tell you their ages. It's insane. And he's got middle children, and then he's got like an 18-year-old. And so, but he is just a really super caring guy. And he has helped so many people that I know get out of their own way, change their thinking. And I reached out to him because I'm like, with this pandemic going on, it can get in your brain and it can affect your emotions and it can put you at a standstill where you're not working your business. And I was like, Joe, I think my people would love to hear from you. And so it's just such a privilege and an honor that you took time out of your busy schedule. I know you're like a big time coach, but you came on to speak to us today. So grab your notebooks because he is going to be sharing some pretty amazing things. He is actually, I call him and he's been a mentor to me and helped me through some things. And so I just trust his brain and his knowledge. And so we're super excited. And Joe, if you can't see the comments on the side of your screen, mm-hmm. You can like change it so you can see comments. It's on the right of your screen at the top.
So it's like where it says chat and live comments?
Yeah. Can you see that? Yeah. Sometimes you don't see it when you initially get on, but you'll see comments coming in. And the people who have given their name to StreamYard, you'll see their name. And the ones who haven't, it'll say Facebook user.
Okay, cool.
So cool. So let's jump in. I have some questions here. So let me pull up my questions so I keep in order. So tell us about how long you've been a life coach and like what caused you to like get into it in the first place, just so people kind of know your background.
So I've been doing life and business coaching for about 15 years. And believe it or not, I died to start doing this. I had been going through massive bouts of fear. I came from a broken household. My mother had been through 5 different marriages. And so I started looking at my life, and that's how I validated myself, was through relationships. And it culminated with me being in a really difficult relationship and decided I didn't want to be here anymore. So it's been about 22 years now. 22 years ago, I decided to go up in the woods and to take my own life. And I did it in a way where nobody could find me. I only left a note to my grandmother and my girlfriend at the time. And I went up there and I know I checked out. I was up in the woods, with exhaust in my face for like 6 hours, finally woke back up. My face was all blue. And I thought, can I just go? I woke up mad that I was still here. And I heard this big booming voice outside of myself that said no, and that scared the crap out of me. So I packed my stuff up and came back down the hill, and I decided it was time to start facing life. I had to go back and get in touch with my grandmother. I had to get in touch with my girlfriend at the time and say, hey, I'm back. But I know I left for a moment because I remember like being in the woods. I remember going like and seeing the planet, then seeing the universe, and then coming back. And I mean, all that was like in an instance. And when I came back and I got myself settled, I decided, I really want to help people not get to dark places. That was my whole purpose. That started being my purpose, whether it be like a dark moment through your day or an irritation with somebody or major angst or getting into the pits of depression and suicide. I wanted to help people not get stuck anymore. And so I started a process. I went and found The Greatest Salesman in the World, this wonderful book that's considered one of the best-selling self-help books of all time. We teach from that. And I started reading that book, and I started realizing that if I could change the way that I thought, then I could change my life. I could start changing the way that things were going in my life. I couldn't change what was happening in life, but I could change my perception of it. So came back, started doing that, became a coach. I had I had a telecom team at the time, and I decided I wanted them to all be the greatest salespeople. So that's originally, I kind of came back with that, got certified, decided I really wanted to help people, and I found this really cool assessment, which we can talk about a little bit more later. And then I have kids. You mentioned kids, so I have kids all the way from
Can't tell
thir-
the ages. It's crazy.
the third. So I have 30. I'm pointing up, but 34, 33. They're both registered nurses. So if you guys keep them in your hearts, because of what's going on in the world right now,
Yeah.
they're frontline servers. So and I'm concerned about them every day. But they're out there. I have five now. We just got 5 grandchildren. The book, Carrie asked, what was the book? It's The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. And then I had a 4-year-old and a 21-year-old. He's 25. He would have been 26. But my 25-year-old just passed away on February 8th. Had struggled a long time with substance abuse and finally got the best of him. And so we lost him on February 8th and then buried him on the 15th, which was one day before his 26th birthday. He would have been 26. But so he's still in our hearts. I still consider him, one of the clan, and his name was Alex. We have Alex and Alyssa. Alyssa's 21 now. And then I have Jeremiah at 12 at home. And then I have Eveline, who is 4 at home. And then I have Bodie, who is 2 at home. And then I have Eleanor, who's brand new. She's just coming on 4 months old now at home.
It's insane.
Lots of fun. Keeps me young.
It's insane. It's crazy. And your wife helps run the show, I'm
Oh my
imagining.
goodness. She's I know that women are the bomb. I do. Because seriously,
That's actually
seriously,
good.
I mean, I think it's really important. I've never discounted the fact that that's a full-time job. And,
Yeah,
and when I help her, when I finish with my day and I get to go upstairs and I, get to connect with her and help with the kids, it's like I get off work and go back to work. And, something might irritate me or something one night. She goes, yeah, I've been dealing with that like all day. So it's, yeah, she's amazing. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. I just have 2, and that's enough, plenty. So
yeah, she asked me the other day if I wanted to have more, and I'm like,
I
that's
know.
up to you.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
She's like, I don't know. Is this a good time to talk about it? Because she's really flustered with the kids, and I'm like, this is the perfect time to talk about not having any more kids. Anyway.
I know. I have moments where I'm like, I want more, and I'm like, I don't want to go back to being tired again. Like that tired I can't handle that. That where you're up all night with the kids. So that's what holds me back. But I would love.
She's only chasing the 2 toddlers around right now. There's getting ready to become 3, and that's going to be quite interesting when there's 3.
It's crazy. Gosh, that's so amazing. So, okay, so I love that. Don't you love Joe? He's just like so nice. I just like who you are. I just like how kind you are, and you're just an amazing father. So tell me this. What do you think sets you apart? There's so many life coaches, business coaches that are out there. They're the big thing. What sets you apart? I mean, I know kind of in my heart what sets you apart is that you're very knowledgeable and you're very chill. You're very easy to talk to, and you bring the like calmness out in anyone. Like whenever I talk to you, I'm like, oh, if I was being like crazy about something in my brain, Joe just makes it calm. But what would you say is your difference?
Well, besides being me, and there's no other me, which I think is really cool. So I'm the only me, Joe Rangel, that's a life coach out there. I read a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. I don't know if you've ever read it on marketing, but it's about eliminating the competition. And the fact is, I don't have any competition when it comes to being me and being a coach. But beyond that, we have an assessment that we do that starts off everything that we do. And, I think a lot of times when we go into therapy and we go into counseling or coaching, we hope somehow to get people to a place where they can understand us, right? So we do this assessment, and the assessment gives us the ability to understand a person's thought processes like right out of the gate. So I can see a person's thought processes. Those thought processes drive behavior patterns repeated over and over again become habits, and the bad habits are the things that we actually, that get in our way. I can see those things and I go, wow, I mean, if I can help people understand the thoughts that are beneath the surface that drive those behavior patterns, then we can make some permanent shifts. And so we start off to me, where everybody hopes to get to. I've literally had conversations with people that have been in therapy for 6 months and then they jump on and they're like, oh my gosh, you're showing me more in 30, 40 minutes than I've seen in 6 months. And So it's a beautiful way to begin a dialogue and an engagement. And so everything that I do starts with that, with an understanding. I also think it's important to see if a person has validity with a process. I don't think it needs to be easy. Like, I don't think everything that we do needs to be easy, but I do think a person needs to connect, with the person that they're going to be working with. And also, if we're using a process, which this is a process, that they find validity in the process. So the first thing we do is we do that assessment. I know you're going to offer that up at some point, and then go from there. And everything that I do starts with a minimum of a 7-month engagement, all the way up to 14 months or longer. There's some people that I've worked with for over 10 years. And there's some people I work like in consultancy, like with you, we just have had, years long relationships. I would say that all my clients at the end become friends, and I just continue staying connected with them and helping them no matter what, even if they're not a paying client. That's just my nature. So I think that's what sets me apart. Is that enough?
Yeah, so good. I muted myself so you don't like hear me. I was like typing up habit finder coach. So if I act awkwardly quiet, it's because I'm muted for a second. I think you get better audio when I'm
So you
muted.
guys notice that
Um,
link that she put up there, because if you go there to habitfindercoach.com/free gift, you'll know you're in the right place, because you're going to see a picture of Michelle, and then you'll see my name and my information. And can I go ahead and talk about that really quick?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I put that up there. So
So
because you kept saying it, just in case someone
this
wants to
is
grab it.
it's an absolute free assessment. It doesn't cost you anything to take the assessment. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. You don't want to overthink it when you take it. And then you get this 40-page report back that shows you 36 different realms of thought. And it's pretty
Wow,
amazing.
that's
I
great.
see some people I know out there. Hi, Jillian. Hi, Linda. So there's people out there. Um, Hi, little girl.
Oh yeah, we got a little. Come on, Sneaky Weeky, you want to come over here?
We have another assistant, huh?
Wait, yeah, she just got up. She was up late. Yeah,
So, so you take the assessment. There's no questions on it. You rank two banks of 18 statements, and then you get this incredible report back. And then either myself or one of my coaches will actually call you back, and we'll do a free consultation with you. That doesn't cost anything either, and there's no obligation to do any business with us. My whole purpose is to help people find a way to get to a more peaceful, prosperous space, no matter what. If you do like what you hear, if it resonates with you and you connect with us, then we would love to talk to you about furthering that. We know that the habits that get in the way, those habits actually don't take place overnight, right? So anybody that has any habits, we all have them. They didn't just come up overnight. They take years, some of us lifetimes, to actually build into the way we live our lives. So we know that they don't go away overnight. One little conversation is not going to make them go away. And so we have a minimum engagement of 7 months, because we know if we can have that time with you, we can make those things shift for you.
yeah, love that. So in all your years of working with direct sellers, what would you say is like something that you see over and over, like a pattern behavior or something weird that direct sellers get stuck on?
So I kind of came down and kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, kind of mush these things all into one thing, because there's so many things out there that affect us. And I'm in direct selling too. I sell my own stuff. I'm not out there having anybody, go through a system or be in a book or have a storefront. So I'm constantly on the phones and connecting with people. It was really funny. I chased you for a long time, and you were finally okay. We can talk. It was pretty funny.
I didn't
Uh,
even know I was ignoring you. I probably was just so busy. There's so much incoming stuff. It's like, yeah, if you catch me, I love you.
so yeah. So but anyway, now I lost my train of thought. Oh, there we go. Hang on. What'd you just ask me?
I know. Well, I
Oh,
said,
oh, the three things that I disseminated down. Sorry about that. There was my squirrel moment. Hopefully, that's the only one I have today. Um, but so what I disseminated down was into these three things that I kind of call the happiness formula for direct sellers. So the first one is, number one is to be consistent in your activity. So I found that the number one challenge with most direct sellers is that they're inconsistent. They'll get all on fire, they'll get all, fired up and excited and ready to go. And then all of a sudden something will happen, whether it be life or enough people telling them no. And then they'll start to back off of consistency and, start watching Netflix in the middle of the day or go shopping on Amazon in the middle of the day and stuff like that. And it never helps anything. So the number one thing that I talk to people about doing is getting consistent in your activity. Now, consistent for one person is not the same consistent for another person, right? So it could be One person can work their business 3 days a week. One person can work it 2 days a week, only in the evenings. Some people they're really lucky and they can actually do them 5 days a week or 7 days a week or whatever you want to do. But whatever your plan is, get consistent in that plan and implement that plan and then stick to it. The most important thing you can do is to keep your word to yourself. That's number one. Number two, I used to say, I still, I guess I want to say get rid of fear, but I don't know if we can ever completely get rid of it. So I started using the word diminish, but that sounds a little bit hoity-toity. Get rid of fear. Get it out of your head. Fear is the number one thing that holds people back in direct selling. When we start to worry about what somebody thinks of us, like right now in this interesting environment that we're in right now, you could say, well, I'm afraid I'm going to be pushy, or somebody's going to say I'm opportunistic or whatever. Anytime you have a fear, you're thinking about you than you're more than you're thinking about that other person that you could connect with and whose life you could change by either just getting to know them or offering them opportunity or letting them hear something from you, right? It could be something very, very simple. But if you're afraid, you're thinking about you and you're not thinking about that person or your market. And, in direct selling, really what we're all doing is running around educating people. If you can get out of your head that salesmanship is a bad thing, and it's something to be afraid of, and you can start to go, what I'm doing is I'm educating people so that they can make a proper decision. They can make a decision that they want to make. They have a choice. And most of the time, if you're not out there saying something to somebody, somebody else will. So it might as well be you. And remember, you're not out there to hurt anybody. So if anybody ever gets, takes offense or says something, you just want to turn it back and say, look, I'm just giving you an offer, just a chance. This is an opportunity. You can take it or leave it. But whatever we get afraid of, somebody just put on there false evidence appearing real. It's all based on a past experience. And I'll tell you this, it's all based in conjecture. The fears that we have that stop us from doing business, they're not based on reality. They're based on what our head fabricates. So that's the second one. The third one is walk in faith. And faith to me, especially in direct selling, it's an understanding that you got to keep on doing the work even when it feels like it's not working. So you keep on making the calls, you keep on sending out the emails, you keep on voxering, you keep on texting, whatever the case may be, you keep doing those things and you don't stop even when it feels like things are not happening. I kind of correlate that back to burying a seed in the ground. If you buried a seed in the ground and then you walked out and looked at it the next day, you might go, unless it's a tomato plant. Tomato plants can bloom or start growing within one day, but you might try to dig it up. And if you kept digging it up over and over again, you'd end up killing that seed. There's a process. The process is you water it, and then the sun hits it, and then it gets oxygen, and then it grows, right? But it grows in the warmth of the ground. If you dig it up, if you start looking at things all the time and trying to figure out how you can make them not work, they won't work. So faith, and Napoleon Hill said that faith is an uncompromising belief that you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. Think and Grow Rich is another one to me of the best-selling self-help books of all time. And if you follow the principles in that book, again, you can start to set yourself free. That's why right now there's some pretty cool stuff going on in the world, even though it feels like it's horrible. But I'll kind of share that in closing.
I'm writing your book. I'm writing Think and Grow Rich. Hold on. Think and Grow Rich. Joe, always a good book. Think and
if you,
Grow.
by the way, if you guys pick that book up, pick up the 21st Century Edition. It's a purple copy of the book, and it's written with some present day people that have utilized the material out of that book to become successful. And there's also a cool workbook that's available for that if you really like to be studious. Okay.
Okay, cool. I like that. Okay. I love everything you say. Isn't he great, you guys? Joe's like the calm of the world. Okay, the book mentioned is Think and Grow Rich. Get the purple one, right? That's what you said?
Yeah, there's a purple version of the 21st Century Edition. I found that's the best one because it shows modern day application of the principles.
Oh yeah, okay. I like that. Okay, and then what would you say, like my last question for you is like it's a challenging time right now, unprecedented. I mean, so many words we could use for what's going on in the world, like whoa. That's what I say. That's how I describe what's going on in the world right now. It's whoa. Oh my gosh, my microphone. I haven't had my microphone on the whole time. Is that better?
You're doing fine.
Okay. It was over here. I forgot to put it here. But what would you say? Like what advice do you have for people during this different time that we're in right now?
So to me, one of the most important things is that we pay attention to facts. Like I mentioned to you before, fear is based on conjecture. If we want to be afraid, like if we walk down the street and there's a big bear or wild dog running loose, maybe that's the time to be afraid. That's a physical fear. But really fear is to protect us. If you go back to prehistoric days, from a saber-toothed tiger or from a dinosaur, we don't have those things to be afraid of today for the most part. So we run around worrying about what people think. Even before this pandemic came on, we were worried about what people think. Do we dress nice? Do we have enough money? Is our car nice? Is our house nice? Do people like me? We get all caught up in all that stuff and conjecturizing, and so it makes us be massively afraid. So one of the first things I'm sharing right now, I'm going around kind of spreading a message of these three things, is get your facts straight. Make sure that you're dealing with factual information. If you're afraid of something, ask yourself if it's real. Is this real, or is it something I'm fabricating in my head? Is this real? Can I prove it to be in a court of law? And I know your call probably hit some men too, but I tell you, women have a really cool gift. You guys can switch hemispheres quickly, and it's been physiologically proven. So you can shift from emotional to logic and logic to emotion quickly. One of the things that you got to do is grab hold of yourself and decide, if I'm afraid of something, I'm in my emotional brain. If I'm in my emotional brain, then I want to shift over into logic. If I can shift into logic, asking myself logical questions, I can start to step back from that fear. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing that I really want you to do is get rid of the fear. So the first thing is to pay attention to facts, get into factual information, but then get rid of fear, and that will help you diminish fear. It helps you get rid of fear that's not real. And then the very last thing I believe in is magnifying your faith. And this is more in a faith, spiritual belief system, knowing that everything's going to be okay. We might not know how it's going to be okay right now, but I can tell you everything's going to be okay. And a lot of what's been propagated out there is a bunch of fear. I don't know how many people have thought about how pandemic and pandemonium kind of are the same root word. Most people are not even thinking about that. But no matter what your belief is, whether it's good and bad, light, dark, God and the devil, spirit and unspirit, whatever you believe in out there, there is good energy and bad energy. And the more we can focus on staying in that good space, the more we can focus on I believe in making God choices. That's my belief. And staying away from the earthly devil choices, the things that are reactionary and fear-based, the more we're going to continue to prosper. And it's very easy to have faith when everything's going well. It's difficult to have faith when things are going crazy, where it feels like the world's falling apart. You can't find out the truth. Like if you watch the news too much, there's two different camps. You can't even tell exactly what is the truth. So what you got to do is focus on factual information, control what you can control. Remember, the only thing you can control in your life is you, the way you think about things, the way you respond to things, or if you choose to react. And if you can get that, if you can get in that headspace, and we can help you with that, you can set yourself free. The world can just blow up in a positive way.
I love that. I love that is such a powerful thought. And I don't know, I heard that years ago, but I've always remembered that, even in moments of craziness, it's like, hey, this only feels crazy because you're crazy in your head. Stop being crazy. That you're so totally right with all of that. So I so love that. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Joe? Isn't he great? Don't you love this guy? Um, so Joe is giving you guys his what do you call it? Is it a
I call
quiz?
it we call it a profile assessment.
Okay.
And let me just tell you, it's been around for 40 years. So somebody, if we just think it's just popping out of the sky and we've just invented it, it's been around for 40 years. It was created in the 1940s. Well, it's actually more than that, 1940s. So now we're at six. It's been more like 70 years,
That's a lot.
but it's been around since the 1940s. It was created by a guy named Dr. Robert Hartman. It's based on the science of axiology. And axiology is the study of human values. And then we've taken and correlated that science into an understanding of habits. And so if we can understand your value system, we can understand your thoughts. If you can understand your thoughts, you can understand your behaviors. If you can understand your behaviors, you can change things forever.
Yeah.
So that's what the science behind that is. But the Habit Finder assessment is free. You go to habitfindercoach.com/free gift. Like I said, if you'll know you're in the right place because you're going to see Michelle's picture there. You'll see my name there. And when you get to that page, my phone number's there. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out or text, or you can reach out through Michelle's sources and send those back to me. But I'd love to connect with each and every person out there. My whole purpose in life is to help people understand that they can get to be massively prosperous and not feel like they've got to stress their way to success. They can still be peaceful in that focus of of being wealthy and powerful in the world.
Yeah. Love that. You have one quick question. I know we have one more minute with you. So there's your other question. What are your favorite daily habits, Mr. Joe?
Getting up and doing things consistently. So I
Yeah.
follow my calendar is 100% locked in, and I tend to be mostly right brain, so I used to hate that, like following structure and order. But to me, following structure and order is the number one most important thing to do. And then one of them that I actually struggle with is drinking water, because I'd rather my water be like, bubbly with sugar in it, but and maybe some caffeine, like that antifreeze flavored, soda. But no, so water, drinking lots of water, reading good stuff, keeping myself filled full of good information. And I'll tell you, when you have bad influences getting into your head, it can be really hard to get up and read something good. You can start to want to do it and then find yourself sidetracked. So just staying consistent. I live by my calendar.
Yeah.
Everything I do is in my calendar. If my wife shares my calendar with me, if she needs something, I just ask her, is it in my calendar? Have you looked at my calendar? I give her access to add things to my calendar. So if she has honeydews in the middle of the day, she can pop those into my calendar as long as I'm not doing something else. And that's probably my number one thing, is to stick to my order and structure. And
Yeah.
I stick to my plan. So it's, to me, the most important thing is following order and structure, but it's not about following it from everybody else. It's about keeping our commitments to ourselves. Eating mostly healthy, getting outside and breathing fresh air. Like right now, so important to just, even if you don't go anywhere, just get outside and walk around your house, go in the backyard, breathe in some air. It's amazing what that will do for you. So those things are probably the most important. There's other things I can probably get into, but I also, by the way, this is funny. Escape your brain. And some people don't agree with this. Some people try to tell you like to throw your TV away or whatever. If you like watching TV and you watch it late at night, it's a way that you wind down, I think it's fine to do that. So read something, that sets your brain free, that keeps you from just feeling like, "Oh, I got to learn all the time." I heard somebody recently that's very high up in a direct selling company say, somebody asked them what they read. What are you reading? And everybody always is looking for the next best self-help book. And he goes, well, you're going to kind of find it funny, but I'm reading a fictional book, because it makes your brain utilize your creativity. It starts to create stimulus. It starts to get you away from reality. So find a way to clear your brain. I do that every day. Usually I watch some show at night that's mindless, or read a book that's mindless. I read lots of self-help books too, but my brain's full of that stuff at the end of every day. So finding some way. I love going to movies. So when they shut the theaters down, I was like, dang it. I was going to go the night before they shut them down, and I was too busy. So I couldn't go.
Regrets. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. It's those little tidbits that you share that make your brain think a new thought. I know for me, there was just one thing you shared, and then we'll let you go. Was you said, Michelle, so you're telling me that you like to just do things your own way, and I was like, yeah, I do. Like I like to do my own thing. And he said, well, what does that feel like to you? Like doing it your own way with just like kind of no schedule, and you just want to be an entrepreneur and do things your own way. I'm like, feels very chaotic. Feels very like out of control and just throwing stuff all over the place. He's like, and so you realize that by not having a schedule, because you wanted to do things your own way, you're creating more chaos in your life. And you said it way more eloquent, but where you just said, what entrepreneurs hate structure, but if you give yourself structure, you will give yourself more freedom. And that is something that has always stick with me. You said that years ago. It was that, plus the other thing you said was imperfect action is better than perfect procrastination. And those are just two things that have literally changed my life. And I teach that so much, and so much that I share with other people. Like, just take imperfect action. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just put stuff out there. Just get moving, and it will change your life. And so I thank you so much for that, because those huge thoughts have shifted my life in such a huge way, where I actually set a schedule and I go live at certain times, and I have more harmony and balance and more free time with my family because of those small little thoughts. So it's
Uh,
amazing.
Thank you. Thank
So I
you.
appreciate you, and I love you, my friend. And I just thank you for taking time to come on and share with us. And I'll just put that banner back up for anybody that wants Joe's um, assessment. You can just check it out there. So thank you so much for taking time to be with us. We really
Thank you. I
appreciate it.
appreciate you all. Thank you all that appeared, and for all the ones that are not here live that we'll be hearing from later. And yeah, I'd love to hear each from each and every one of you. Some of the people out there I've worked with before, and so
Oh, cool.
it's interesting. I see Michelle Parks the Break say hi, and
Oh, cool.
if there's somebody I don't recognize your name or I missed you on the thing, I appreciate you all being here. So thank you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Mr. Joe. Have a great day. Stay safe out there.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.